Morning world, it's Monday the 28th of May, it's about 8:39am in the morning UK time. The moon is at the very end of Scorpio, the sun's in early Gemini. The moon will move into Sagittarius in readiness for tomorrow's full moon, somewhere between 11 to 12 today UK time. There's not a lot going on in the world at the moment, or what there is old stuff, so I'm not feeling like I want to concentrate on world stuff at the moment, so I'm going to continue with these astrological teaching videos because I seem to be enjoying them and you seem to be enjoying them. So if anything comes up, of course I'll focus on that, but in the meantime let's have a look at aspects between the Sun and Chiron. Now the Sun is about identity, individuality, sense of self, sense of uniqueness. It's who you are as an individual. It's nothing really to do with your influence in the outside world. The Sun gives us heat, light and life, and without it we wouldn't be here. So it represents one's self. Chiron, in the first 15 years, it was when it was discovered, through to the mid-90s, Chiron was seen very much as a planetoid of healing and wounding. But since that time, its concepts have been developed. It's nearly 40 years now since Chiron's been used in astrological language. Chiron is the centaur, half man, half horse. It is either the blend of or the dichotomy between animal instinct and human intuition. Chiron can be where you sabotage yourself, shoot yourself in the foot, wound yourself, let other people use you as a springboard for their success. Chiron can also be where you bring words like integration, assimilation and holism into your life, into your horoscope, and become more complete in yourself. But certain tenets are fundamental with Chiron. You're never going to be good enough, no matter what you do, but you're always getting better. 98% is good enough, because if you had 100%, you'd have wings on your back. The sky is perfect, the sea is perfect, but it's always changing. So perfection is not an option. You're not being asked to be successful, you're being asked to do your best. And the only person who can tell you what your best is you. You are judge, jury and executioner. So as long as you're doing your best, that's good enough. Now, Sun Chiron aspects. The Sun opposite Chiron is a really difficult aspect. It can point to a complete absence or a complete lack of adequate male role model imagery. The father can be absent, physically wounded, alcoholic or junkie. The father can be henpecked or downtrodden by the mother, and the mother can wear the trousers. Sun opposite Chiron people often grow up in an environment where there is an inadequate male role model image. As a result, they have to work out for themselves what it means to have masculine energy, regardless of their gender. Sun opposite Chiron people also end up letting other people use them as a springboard for their success. And other people don't even say thanks, let alone take them with them. So the Sun opposite Chiron person will end up feeling used and abused and taken for granted. Sun opposite Chiron can deal with inadequacy, where you feel undervalued, unwanted, underrated by other people, thus you become more alienated and isolated from the world. But it's also those people who, after a period of decades sometimes of feeling a lack of self-worth, can turn around and go, you know what, this is me, warts and all, and if you don't like it, there's the door. Sun trine Chiron people, Sun in conjunct Chiron. Not a lot's known about this yet, it's still being developed, but it seems to me that with the Sun in conjunct Chiron, there's always going to be a sense of a lack of clarity around identity. It's almost as if as soon as you try and figure out exactly who you are and what this I business is anyway, then the sands shift, the tides move, and you have to redefine yourself. So it's a constant redefinition around purpose, ego and identity. Sun in conjunct Chiron always compromising and adjusting within oneself to try and find some capacity for being assertive and projective without coming across as confrontational and aggressive. Sun trine Chiron always have an affinity with animals, particularly the four-legged types. And there is a strong relation with horses. This is a lovely aspect. It creates an ease in coming to terms with one's more wounded nature And it does talk from an early age of relative integration and assimilation. This is me. This is who I am. It's okay. It'll do. And it doesn't hang around with people who denigrate or put oneself down. They just move on because they don't need that type of energy in their lives. Sun trine Chiron people is about personal integration. Sun square Chiron, often it can end up with people who have a kind of physical challenge, particularly around mobility. These are the people, when I see it in a horoscope, I always say, look, if you go off-road walking or mountain bike riding or pony trekking, then always wear high-ankled boots, because the heels and the ankles will always be a bit of a weak point. This is to do with the myth of Chiron, when he was teaching Achilles, Asclepius, Hercules and things like that, and the way that Chiron was mortally wounded, but because he was immortal he couldn't die. There's a whole lot of stuff around the myth, and maybe that's a subject for another video. Sun square Chiron can have a lot of issues around self-confidence, self-belief and self-acceptance when young, under 51 in this case. But when older, Sun square Chiron, well, the best healers are those who have been the most wounded. And they realise that it's not about healing others, it's about empowering others to heal themselves. You're not a healer, you're a catalyst if you've got the Sun square Chiron. Sun sextile Chiron, great aspect. Any sextile is a pretty good aspect. The Sun sextile Chiron personality is someone who's going to reach out to those who are disaffected, who's going to have a genuine desire to help people less fortunate for themselves, but also who's going to not so much be the sacrificial healer, but someone who's just going to go, look, here's the tools, do it for yourself. And by doing it for yourself, you become more empowered. And often these are the people, they say, here you go, this is how to do it. Off you go, and the person goes away, heals themselves and comes back and go, hey, you were right, you did it, you helped me, thank you. Oh, where have they gone? Who was that masked man, masked woman? It's what I call the Zorro effect. Sun conjunct Chiron. Often these people have a really strong fear or attraction towards horses. And I say to them, you're not being asked to ride a horse, but you're being asked to lean across a fence and stroke it. If you can do that, then we talk about integration, assimilation and holism. But if they're scared of horses, then I talk about disintegration, fragmentation and dichotomy. Horses work with these people. Motorbikes don't. If you fall off a horse, you normally bounce. If you fall off a motorbike, you don't. So motorbikes are to be avoided, fast motorbikes particularly if you've got the Sun conjunct Chiron. There can be a physical disability here with the lower leg mobility systems. There certainly can be a sense of neglect, isolation, even abandonment and rejection as a child, particularly painful. And often these people have to grow up very fast on their own with a lack of either male and or female role model imagery, particularly if Ceres is involved. Sun conjunct Chiron people need to nurture a sense of self-development, self-acceptance and self-confidence, knowing that by constantly just keeping going and trying, they're always improving. And these people do in time become the best healers in the world, simply by just smiling at people and giving others the tools to do it for themselves. There's a lot still to be worked out with Chiron. It's becoming a much more... I can't conceive of doing a horoscope without Chiron now. Even though it's a small rock the size of Manhattan and it's sort of a billion miles away. And yet it seems to work. More work by natal placement and not by transit, although the Chiron return at 51 is actually really important. This is why I tell all my clients that life begins at 40, and then when they get to 50 I tell them that I lied. It's actually 51. Then you are a mature, integrated and assimilated human being. Okay, that was my take on the Sun conjunct Chiron. It's Monday morning, the moon's at the end of Scorpio. Have a great day. Sagittarius full moon tomorrow. Looking forward to it. Catch you later, world. Bye.